Sergeant.
How you doing?
I'm fine. What did you want to talk to me about?
So I'm trying to see what your view is on exceptional customer service. And what that looks like to you.
Well, we're public servants, and as such we serve the public. And so I think exceptional public service is doing the very best we can to cover all the bases that we can to meet the needs of the public and the services that we provide.
Excellent. How do you think that correlates with the corrections division?
That's an interesting question, because I think most people probably don't think a corrections division provides public service.
I'd have to agree with you.
Yeah, but they do, and I can only speak from the courtroom because that's where I see you do most of your work. But I think your primary duty is safety.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's safety of the employees that work here, the safety of the people that come and watch court, the safety of the inmates themselves. And when I say safety about the inmates themselves, I mean, you guys have a lot with which to deal. They have medical issues. You have to make sure they don't escape. You have to make sure the females and the males are separated from one another. You have to make sure that rival gang members aren't in a fight in the courtroom. And so, you need to be apprised of all that information. So, I mean, it's a lot that you guys do to make us safe, and that's certainly a public service to make us all safe. But I gotta tell you, my office borders the hall.
Yes, ma'am.
And so when the corrections folks come back and forth with the inmates, I can hear them talking. And what I really do like about the corrections department is not only are you keeping us safe, but you're doing a really good job of treating those folks with respect. I mean, they've presumably gotten in trouble for something or other, but you guys always treat them with respect. I've seen you and your staff use mostly their first name, and when they're walking down the hall, they want to know, how much longer am I going to be in jail, or I can hear you guys say, well, we'll go back and check that. I'm probably not too much longer. We'll check. So I just think you guys do an exceptional job.
Well, that's very reassuring to hear, and I appreciate you taking the time. One final question. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate the customer service the corrections division provides? It's not only the inmate population, but internally as well, to other divisions and things that you have seen from your perspective.
Well, what's bad, 1 or 10?
Well, 1 would be the worst, and 10 would be the best.
I think you guys do an 11.
Wow.
I mean it. I do.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I think you do a great job.
Well, I really appreciate you taking the time.
Hey, no problem.
Good afternoon. I am Sergeant Jason Masters with the Yakima City Detention Facility. With me today is Lieutenant Ira Cavan with the Patrol Division. We are here to discuss customer service and our mission to provide exceptional customer service to all. Lieutenant Cavan, do you think Corrections Division provides customer service to the Patrol Division?
Well, I think they do. We work a lot in partnership with each other, not just on the physical aspects of booking prisoners into jail, but I think there's a lot of areas where the Corrections Division and the Patrol Division, really the entire commission side, work together. A good example of that is training. We work together a lot as instructors. I think we have defensive tactics instructors and firearms instructors that overlap and help each other out. And I think it's important to remember that we're doing a lot of the same jobs, just in different areas of the building.
Okay. Could you provide an example of specifically how?
An example of some good customer service I've seen with the Corrections Division I can think of is, we have a lot of times that officers are bringing in combative or difficult subjects. And one of the advantages that you guys have in the jail is you work with them on a different level, and they don't always view you guys as the bad guys that are putting them into jail. And so a lot of times I've seen corrections staff come out and be able to calm an individual down that was otherwise upset with maybe the arresting officer because they don't think they should be going to jail. And then a corrections officer will come out and talk to them. And within 5 minutes, the person's calm and cooperative and ready to go into the facility without any issues, simply because you're able to communicate with them on a different level that we can't really. We're the focus of the anger, and you guys are more of the custodial side of it. So I think that partnership's important, because it not only makes our job a lot easier, because then we're not doing so much paperwork for use of force and everything else like that, but it also helps really kind of accomplish the goal of getting the person into the facility in a quick manner.
What do you think the importance is of our two divisions working together?
Well, I mean, we definitely can't do our job. One of the advantages for us being able to do our job so well out in the field is the fact that we have our own facility here to book people in. And if we didn't have the ability to book inmates on misdemeanor charges basically at will with our own department, I know a lot of agencies struggle because they don't have their own custody facility. So, for example, they're reliant on what the county jail may or may not accept, what the booking criteria is for a third-party facility, and whether or not they're going to be able to take that. We have the advantage here at the police department, or at the Yakima Police Department, of being able to take advantage of having our own custody facility. So if somebody really does need that time out to get booked into jail to sort of cool off for a little bit, we have the ability to book them directly in without maybe going through a lot of the hoops that other agencies do. So if we didn't have that ability to do that, it would make our job more difficult out in the field in terms of being able to really kind of deal with problems that we encounter.
Okay, what specific problems could you see arise that would come from our two divisions not being able to work together?
Well, obviously, if we didn't have a good customer service relationship, then number one, you'd have issues with each other, backing each other up. People not wanting to maybe go out of their way to do something that's maybe not necessarily in their job description. For example, I know there's times the officers have come in and worked the jail control room, or officers with prior corrections experience have maybe watched the panel for a second while the corrections officers are dealing with a situation on the floor. And obviously that's not necessarily in our job description, but our guys are happy to do it, and vice versa with you guys coming out and watching prisoners that we have maybe in holding or something like that. Not necessarily your job, and you could easily say, no, sorry, we're not leaving the facility. And then now we're left with not dealing with a problem by ourselves, or potentially having to bring more manpower in to deal with something that you've got bodies and they're able to do it right there. So I think just the efficiency side of it and the safety side of it is what really kind of benefits from having that good relationship.
Can you provide an example of a time that you personally witnessed the Corrections Division providing customer service?
I absolutely can. And I've witnessed it on many occasions with most of the corrections officers that are on day shift. And it's, as you can tell, my door is open all the time. The door to the hallway is open as well. And I hear the dialogue going on between the correction officers and the inmates as they come down the hall. And their dialogue is very much reassuring, it's respectful, it's professional, and you hear both the inmate and the correction officer, talking about their court case, what's going to happen today. Again, the corrections officers are just absolutely reassuring to the inmate. And so oftentimes as they're walking down the hall, I think to myself how easy it would be for them to just have an episode right there. But because of the calm demeanor of the corrections officer, he or she just routes them right into the courtroom without incident. And that's the key, is it truly has probably diverted so many incidences, just being polite, respectful, and treating them as they would want to be treated.
Excellent. Well, so over the years that you've worked here, have you seen a change in the way that we provide customer service? So has recent times been different than, say, 10, 15 years ago?
I have to say that since the time I've worked for the court, the corrections officers, staff have always delivered stellar customer service. Always. There's not been a time that I remember in all the years that I've worked here that we haven't had, just on a scale of 1 to 10, a 10 plus in our corrections officers. From their demeanor to their physical appearance to their professionalism to the way that they treat the people that they're serving back in the jail portion, and I've seen it for a good many years. So I can't say enough. And I've seen other facilities operate as well, and Yakima is just top notch.
That's really good news. I look forward to sharing that with them. And
I would
thank
ask you to
for
do that.
sharing.
I would ask you to do that.
¿Cómo le ha impactado a usted este programa del graffiti, donde tapamos nosotros el graffiti de las calles?
Ha estado muy bien porque han tenido las calles limpias y es buen programa para la comunidad.
Okay. ¿Y cómo le ha impactado a usted nuestra presencia, a usted y la vecindad?
Para mí la presencia de ustedes ha sido un alivio porque se siente uno más seguro y pues sabe uno que es la autoridad la que anda haciendo el trabajo.
Sí. ¿Usted ha notado o ha visto que hay menos graffiti o menos crimen desde que nosotros comenzamos este programa del graffiti?
Pues sí, ha habido mucho menos grafitis. De menos no se ve tanto porque lo cubren rápido. Para mí ha sido un honor tenerlos aquí, porque me siento seguro.
Más seguro.
Más seguro, sí.
Okay.
What is your name?
My name is Quentin Wallace.
So what was your first thoughts when you were being brought into this facility?
My first thoughts with me being brought into this facility, I was really agitated. I was really out of control, out of hand. I didn't want to be here in this position, in this jail. From past experience, I was dead set on committing a new crime if it had to be, to get sent to the county because I didn't want to be in the city jail.
So what changed your mind about coming into this facility?
Well, being in cuffs wasn't what changed my mind. What it was the officer Vanover talking to me with respect and explaining to me that the procedures of how it used to be had changed over the years. Now, granted, it had been years since I've been back here, so I was really perceived off of going off of something from the past. And as he was talking to me, I could realize that he was talking to me with the respect. He was showing me the mutual respect of me being a human and not just an inmate or a criminal, but he actually talked to me like I was a man. And as he was talking, I realized his body language and his partner's body language were, showing me respect. They weren't downplaying me. They didn't try to humiliate me or threaten me in any manner. They actually came at me and explained to me that, hey, this is a different program. This is a whole different system. It's a whole different setup. And from that point on, they were able to de-escalate me, and I started to relax a little bit. And from other officers' presence and their demeanor towards me, I felt that, okay, maybe this ain't like it used to be, and I calmed down.
So once you were in here and the amount of days you've been here and coming in contact with other corrections officers in this facility, how have they treated you?
I realized it just wasn't one officer that has the decency to show me the respect. It was majority of all the officers. had the decency to show me respect. Not as a criminal, but as a human. They had compassion. They had a little bit of empathy for me. They could do what they could for me. You know, they weren't, you know, belittling me or denying me of any of my rights. And I thought that was pretty decent of them. I mean, just be able to be, you know, able to say thank you for treating me respectfully made me say, want to treat them respectfully right back.
So do you think with the corrections officer showing you that respect and treating you as a normal human being and not making it any worse than what it already was for you, that had enough major effect on how?
It de-escalated the whole situation. It actually stopped me from catching a new charge because I was dead set on taking flight on one of the officers if I was released out of my handcuffs,
Right.
just so I wouldn't be in this jail with these officers because of the past experience that I've had here.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, had it not have been for the officers and the respect they showed me, there would have been a whole different outcome for me.